Welcome. I will show you now how to use Pulsar Factory for your development, and we will take the example of modifying the component called Notification Manager, which controls the LED on a board. For this presentation, we used the Pixoc one, but it can also be done with several other boards, depending on your needs. As you know, you can use Pulsar Factory with 3 different languages, C, Ada, and Simulink, but for this demonstration, we will only use C and Ada. When you have a new installation of Pulsar Factory that gives you the ability to modify the notification manager, you have 3 elements. You have the binary, which will contain, of course, the binary file, the make file, and then the notification manager directory, which is empty. If you have chosen to modify different type of component, you will have one directory per component you want to modify. But in this demonstration, we will just use the notification manager component, and we will modify it in 3 different ways. So here we will start with an implementation in Ada. So we have a couple of files and we put them in the notification manager directory, and we see that now it's not empty anymore. And if we have just a quick look at the implementation, we see that the Pixoc, when it will start in the init mode, the LED will be blue, and afterwards when it will switch to the standby mode, it will be red. So we want to see the blue light and then the red light. So when the code is done, we have to build the binary. So what is happening there is that Pulsar Factory will compile your source code, and then it will integrate it with all the other components. Component for navigation, component for communication, components for drivers, whatsoever. And then it creates a specific version of the autopilot that includes your behavior, the behavior that you have added to the autopilot. And when this is done, we can actually flash the Pixoc. So the Pixoc restarts, and then we download the binary on the Pixoc, and we should see blue when the Pixoc will restart. That's it. And in a couple of seconds, we should see red. Here it is. So we see that in a couple of seconds, actually, you can change the behavior of the autopilot with simple code and a couple of command lines. So that's pretty interesting for prototyping and for autopilot modification. So we have done it in Ada, and now we will do it in C. So one more time, the code is pretty simple, but the language is different and the behavior is also a bit different. So here we see that during the initialization, the LED will be red, and for the standby, it will be blue. So we will see first the LED in red, and then it will switch to blue. So we see that we have the code in the directory, and then we just have to build one more time the autopilot, and one more time we will create a new version of the autopilot, including this modification. And when it's done, we can flash one more time. And we hope that we will see first red, and then it should switch to blue. So first the red, and when it will switch to standby, we should see blue. So now it's blue, and it means that we are in the standby mode. So now, if we want to modify the behavior still in C, and if I want, for example, to have yellow for the init color, I just have to change a small line of code. Then I save it, and I can one more time launch a build to one more time compile and integrate the new behavior in the autopilot. Then we flash, And if everything went fine, we should see yellow at the beginning and then blue. So now we see that it's yellow. It means that we correctly modified the behavior, and then it will switch to blue once it will go into the standby mode. Here it is. So what we have done here is that we've gone from a modification in the code to a modification on the board in around 10 seconds, which is pretty interesting for fast prototyping and to try what you are doing. But also you don't have to care about all the complexity of the autopilot, but really to focus on what you are currently developing, the behavior of your component. So I hope that I've been clear, but if you have any question, please feel free to ask us. And until then, I wish you a good afternoon. Bye.